This is Jeff.
Okay, we're getting ready here.
All right.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the East Dubuque City Council meeting. It is Monday, February 2nd. I ask that you please turn your cell phones off during the meeting and please be quiet during discussions. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. (26-0201) call to order.
Bergmeyer,
Here.
Dagenhart,
Here.
Fleur,
Here.
Meyer, Roby, Taylor,
Here.
Mayor Digman,
Here.
Attorney Hess. Here.
26-0202 staff reports, city manager report.
Thank you, Mayor. You'll see some more progress on the new station, the emergency services building. The steel is up in the alley area, and you can kind of envision what it's going to be like when there's the bell hanging up in the top. And we're making progress there. Inside the existing fire station, the door's been put in the back, and we're close. I think they're basically ready to hang the new overhead door. When that happens, we'll be able to put the ambulance in there and have the option of moving police potentially in there if that works out. And then so probably at the next meeting, we will surplus the building that the police department's in now. And then when we have an idea of when that's going to be available to us to sell, we'll put it up for sale based on that. Other than that, I think we weathered the cold weather pretty well in terms of knocking on wood. So that's what I would have.
Thank you. I don't have anything this evening. We'll move on to the alderperson report. Bergmeyer.
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Thank you. Degenhart.
I got one from John Bonnet out on Route 35 complaining about when they ran the line through there, they screwed up his driveway and he's not happy about it. You want me to bring it up at the meeting tonight?
Okay, well, we've had the engineers over with him multiple times, going through it and repairing what his issues were. So if he's got another issue, we'll take another look at it.
Okay, well, I said I'd bring it up. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Fleur.
Yeah. What was the final money amount on that parking lot down there?
I would have to look at it. I can get it for you, but it was. I think the budget was like 182 is what comes to my mind, but I would have to look it up what the number is.
Not more than that, though, huh?
The parking lot itself was on its budget. We did the storm sewer below rather than the concrete on the top. The other costs in there weren't directly related to the parking lot. The culvert issue, opening that up is another issue for the city, and that was just a good time to be able to open that up. And we didn't know that we could have that as accessible as it is until we got in for the parking lot and opened it up. But why?
I was just curious, Another thing is, how are we going to be for the streets down in the flats? I've lived down there 20-some years, and there's only been one street repaired. That's DeSoto. Mm-hmm. I think it's time that we put some money, start repairing them roads down there. If we can repair parking lot up here, it's time to start going on down the flats.
So I think the street going into my names are jumping out of my head, but going to Midtown has received work. And like I say, we will be doing streets as we go through. When we do the ditch, that'll be the time that we would do the 3rd Street. It wouldn't make any sense to do it right now because it's going to have to be torn up as part of that. And really, the biggest investment in infrastructure that the city has on the books is the 3rd Street ditch, and that's what we're trying to accrue money for. So I don't think there hasn't been any ignoring of the flats, and each time that we've done street projects, the projects have been brought and put in front of the board, the council, to decide what the priorities were. And so the priorities have been set by this council for the streets that have been done.
Well, I think it's about time, you know? So,
I mean, when it comes up, you know, the next go around, you know, just make sure that you.
yeah, I think our budget's gonna be coming up here shortly, right? So I think we can start putting money away, you know? If we can find money for bonuses, we sure should be able to find money for the streets on the flats, you know? That's just my opinion. What do you think, Digger?
Well, so I think that like I say, the list of streets was brought forward by the Public Works Director and myself and brought to the council, and everybody had a chance to bring up streets at that point to put on the calendar. We have done significant street work, and I don't think that that the flats has been shorted in that as we've gone. But we have budgets that go towards streets, and those aren't the same funds that went toward the parking lot. So those are really two different things. And as for the bonuses, well, we did cost benefit analyses on those things too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think next time that we sit down and we talk about what streets to do, you just be a little more vocal at that point and advocate for for the flats.
Well, yeah. All right, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Roby?
Yeah, just to play off of Tim here, I know that we've had some engineering done for down in the flats. Before budget, could we get a total cost of what, like the 3rd Street ditch is gonna what that's gonna cost to be done? I know we have to reroute a lot of stuff that comes off of Fruit Hill and stuff like that. Can we get like total costs on that so we could kind of look at, I know if he's like me, I get complaints about those streets down there. That's why I've been very vocal about the flats. So before budget time, could we get some cost?
Yeah, because I think the goal on the ditch, I think that's the biggest priority we have, because that's both it's crumbling and it's the most offensive to the eye, I think, of the.
But if we get some cost,
but
then we could look at budget time on what maybe we could do to start the process. At least that way it wouldn't cost us $10 million all at once or whatever it's going to be.
That's how, so
Maybe
we've
we could make a plan.
So that's what it's probably, and I'm getting numbers, and what we're looking at now is I asked them to break it into two phases, maybe 3 phases before it's done. One would involve widening the ditch to increase its capacity, and so that we wouldn't pour the new wall in the same place that the existing wall is, but it'll be poured a few feet further in. And by increasing the capacity that way, we would kind of hit 2 birds with 1 stone on the new wall that needs to be there and the capacity. The capacity is being blunted by the conduit in there, the pipe. And so the first phase would be to do that. The second phase, and set it up so that you could move that culvert in the future. And then the second phase would be moving the culvert. Of course, we could fix just about everything on capacity except the railroad bridge, which is always a choke point. But beyond that, and moving the culvert is both an expense in itself, but also the whole the culvert then has to hit the river on the other side of the dam, essentially, the floodgates, so that it doesn't have to cross over, because the crossover is what's creating the damming down there now. So those would be the two major phases of it, and those would, the other thing that has to happen during that is a new bridge on Menominee, which the new bridge itself would be probably more expensive than any of the road projects that we've done so far. And so, you know, that bridge has to be replaced in the next couple of years too.
Have we had anybody come in to give us a price on something like that?
Yeah, that's part of the estimate on the
Estimate?
part of the estimate, because it has to go in. It would have to be taken out if you're going to widen the ditch too. So, but yeah, we're talking about, you know, $2.5 million probably in the first phase, and I don't know what for the second phase.
It'll be a lot more than the parking lot up here.
It'd be a lot.
I think all those numbers were already put together for the one grant application, right? That we didn't get.
Yeah, but then
we had to submit. So like a lot of those numbers, Gene, are already.
But they're in our back packet, so I don't have
that-
them in
well-
front of me, and I just like something in
Sure.
front of me when we
And-
go to do budget time, so we can look at.
And because we didn't get that money, we pared back what our goals are with this, and like I say, broke it into phases. So yeah, I can get you that as we get it. We're just kind of going back and forth with the engineer right now to try to nail that down.
And then another question. Can we start planning on when we're going to have someone look at this sidewalk here on Montgomery? Because we had talked about having that sidewalk lifted, but we were afraid of water being back behind the sidewalk. We kind of start making plans on when we can look at stuff like that.
Yeah, and probably
Travis is free when we do it.
probably the most cost-effective way would be to raise it up and try it, because
I think a lot of those inlets are going to need repairing. They're in bad shape.
yeah, you're right. The others would be another issue. But as far as the sidewalk itself, it's probably more cost-effective just to raise to level it, and kind of hope for the best, as opposed to engineering a sidewalk. But
The only thing is, if we raise it and there's water that inundates it, we don't have any guarantee on the thing.
yeah,
So are we spending good money after bad?
well, I'm just saying the cost of leveling is so much lower than the cost of the new sidewalk that we'll talk about it. But I'm not saying we shouldn't engineer it and we shouldn't look at the inundation. That's a separate issue in my mind. But the leveling, you could study the leveling.
I'm not worried about the leveling. I'm worried about the water inundation along those inlets there, because they're in really bad shape. I mean, some of them are that high. They don't have any curb left on them. There's no metal left in the curbing, nothing. And I think that might be causing some of the problems.
Okay.
So that's all I have.
Thank you. Taylor?
Nothing tonight.
Thank you. City Attorney Hess?
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Thank you. Police Chief Kavasik?
Good evening. Just wanted to inform you guys that I received an email through the Joe Davis County Sheriff's Office, Lieutenant Rabb, and they are going to run an enforcement grant starting Friday, Saturday, ending Sunday night for Super Bowl weekend. So, again, you will see a influx of deputies in town. So please don't drink and drive. Wear your seatbelts. Stay off the phones, especially during that time due to the step up enforcement on the sheriff's office side. So just figured I'd give everybody a heads up before the Super Bowl weekend. If you drink, don't drive, get a ride, please. Thank you.
To reinforce, we're not part of that grant.
We are not. We're not. The grant, I forget what it's called, asked if I would be interested in enrolling in the grant, and I responded politely with thanks, but no thanks. The sheriff's office already partakes in that grant, and they send enough of their guys here to partake in that grant. So I didn't think that we needed to do that as well, so I politely declined. So, but that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Public Works Director Van Ostrin?
Nothing tonight.
Thank you. Fire Chief Heim?
The only thing I got is, please let Pam know tonight, so she can let me know tomorrow if you're gonna be at the banquet or not.
Okay.
And I recommend all of us members from the board be there at that fireman's benefit.
All right.
So, Chief, just to clarify, are you saying I don't have to take my wife out for Valentine's Day?
A free meal.
All right, moving forward. 26-0203, speakers from the floor. George?
Question. George Murphy, I'm working with a businessman and I'm wondering, did you adapt the new building codes yet? The 2024 national codes?
We have not taken any action on that, no.
Okay, perfect. Thanks.
26-0204, consent agenda.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Bergmeyer.
Aye.
Dagenhart.
Aye.
Fleur.
Aye.
Meyer. Roby.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Twenty-six -0118. Discussion and possible action to amend changes to ordinance number 26-0118 and amendment to ordinance 10-3-1, general parking prohibitions and restrictions, and ordinance 10-3-10, seasonal sweeping as set forth.
So this is all on the third page of that, or the second page of the actual ordinance. The only change tonight is what we discussed basically at the last meeting, and so the only change that we're discussing tonight is what's in red, under G and under paren 1 of E. So the first one wasn't discussed last week, but it was kind of discussed as part of it. But we just decided that vehicles making deliveries is a little easier to understand and covers what we intend to cover than the freight vehicles. And so we decided to put that in there. And then the other change is the one that the chair of the committee brought up that wasn't in here properly last meeting, and I said we would put it in here this meeting, and that is trailers or commercially licensed vehicles as defined by the state and requiring that insurance. So it's just clarifying language under G.
Any questions or discussion?
No, Bob and I discussed it earlier this week, and we're all good to go. It's just something we had all agreed on, so people understand. We had all agreed on in our ordinance committee that this would be put in. Bob and I had talked about it, and then he just forgot to put it in.
Okay.
So I wanted to make sure it got in there.
Sure. If no further discussion, can we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the amendment to the parking regulations.
Have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Dagenhart. Fleur.
Aye.
Meyer. Roby.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Bergmeyer.
Aye.
On to new business, 26-0205, discussion and possible action to approve furniture contract included within the Emergency Services Building budget in the city of East Dubuque.
Okay, so this is part of the budget, part of the plan as as it was approved by the council. And I think we actually went through, I brought out the carpet wall coverings and all that stuff that we've gone through before. So you can see what that all looked like. This is basically what was contemplated from the start. The tables, the folding tables, for instance, in the conference room, are the ones that are designed to fit in the room that we'll have them stored in. The chairs are the stacking chairs. Nothing here is goes out of its way to, isn't nothing fancy, but we did go, for instance, on those conference chairs, one step up above the cheap ones that would fall apart. And these are good quality chairs, according to everything we've gotten. And don't look at the pictures on the front of each of these sections because those are not what we're after. It's the pictures behind it. And so this is just the furniture throughout the building and approving the contract to purchase those.
I have a question.
I was going to say, let's have discussion and questions.
Is this the only bid we got for furniture?
Yes, in that this was what was recommended by the architect and the contractor. They're really, this is the company that does this around here. But
There's other office furniture places in Dubuque too, so.
yeah,
I just think we should do more than one estimate, just my personal opinion.
okay. Well, the problem is that these folks have to recommend the furniture that goes into the place. And so it's the same as kind of the other contractors that the general contractor brings in. I don't have specs for instance, the tables that go into the conference room. But if we don't get the tables that fit, the conference room, storage room was designed around these tables because they had to do that at the time that they were designing the building. And so that's how it's gone. I know that we've discussed this furniture in the past. And
I didn't know anything was going to be designed around a certain thing. I just think we should have more than one bid.
yeah,
But that's not just up to me, so.
Let's vote on it. I make a motion to accept it.
Well, we're still in discussions and questions. Is there any further discussion or questions? If not, we have a motion from Randy.
Second.
All right. Roll call.
Fleur,
Aye.
Roby,
Nay.
Taylor,
Aye.
Bergmeyer,
Aye.
Dagenhart.
Aye.
Moving forward, 26-0206, discussion and possible action to approve ordinance number 26-0206, an ordinance abating the tax heretofore levied for the year 2025 to pay debt service on 3,970,000 general obligation bonds, alternate revenue source, Series 2025 in the city of East Dubuque.
so if you read this, this is clear as mud, but what this is what we always intended, which is that we won't raise the tax levy to pay the the bonds. We'll build that into our budget with the revenue that the city has. That's been our intent, but we have to pass this to prevent the county from adding to our tax levy for the bond repayment, because we'll take that out of our budget. So it's a technical thing to make sure that we are doing this the way that we intended to do it, which is not to have a property tax increase for it.
Any questions, discussion?
So
Comes from our bond council, but
this is a regular ordinance?
this comes from our bond council. They drafted it.
So is this going to be something we will have to amend, excuse me, later on down the road if we end up, like next year or the next year, raising taxes?
Well, it just wouldn't automatic this. If we didn't pass this,
It would
there would be an automatic tax increase.
Okay.
So it's not saying you couldn't do a tax increase in the future, but it's saying we don't intend to do that at this point. As to whether you have to do this every year, I'm not sure the answer to that question.
Yeah, that's why I was wondering if it was an ordinance or, and I can't think of the other name of the other word that we.
Resolution.
Here. Yeah, resolution. That was my question. Is an ordinance necessary, or do we just do a resolution?
Yeah, so I'm not sure the answer to that, but
It's got to be done.
either way, we want to make sure we don't do it. Yeah.
Gene, I think it needs to be an ordinance because we're actually physically sending it to the county in this respect. I think is what they're thinking. I'm not 100% sure.
So it does relate to tax year 25, so this is probably something that we'll have to do as a matter of course
Limited to that tax year.
each year. So it looks to me like, yeah, it would be an annual thing.
That's because resolutions are good for a year.
Yeah,
That's why I was wondering what.
yeah, but Pam's right. I think that that's probably why they would do it as an ordinance to
Okay.
be something we could forward on to the county.
Okay.
Any further questions or discussion? If not, we need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Second, roll call.
Roby,
Aye.
Taylor,
Aye.
Bergmeyer,
Aye.
Dagenhart. Aye. Fleur,
Aye.
All right. Moving forward, 26-0207, executive session, personnel matters, and 5 ILCS 120/2C2, collective negotiating matters. Need a motion?
Second.
Roll call.
Taylor,
Aye.
Bergmeyer,
Aye.
Dagenhart. Aye. Fleur,
Aye.
Roby.
Aye.
All right, we'll be going into executive session.
I can transfer you in. Just hold on a second. I just need to make sure somebody is in the room there to accept your call.
26-0208, discussion and possible action on matters discussed in executive session. There is no action, so we will move forward. 26-0209, need a motion to adjourn?
I have a second for a point of information first.
Yep, absolutely.
So-
Floor is yours.
We've got map tubes for sale at City Hall, large, medium, and small, 50 cents a piece. We got a couple hundred of them.
I told him,
Please stop by and pick them up for crafts, arts, or gerbils.
go over to the
Thank you.
post office. Either go over to the post office, see if the post office wants to buy any of these.
Okay,
They're pretty handy to mail stuff in, and they don't have anything like this.
okay. All right. We're going to move forward. 26-0209, motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Dagenhart.
Aye.
Fleur.
Aye.
Meyer. Roby.
Aye.
Taylor.
Aye.
Bergmeyer.
Aye.
Okay.
We are adjourned.
See you later, Bergie.
Got an idea where to go with them, Dean? Good. 3 foot, 3 foot, and 4 foot. Oh, sure.